Is there a word for people who are opposite of entrepreneurs?
I don't. I can't think of anything that wouldn't be considered usually as an insult. I can't think of a nice word that people.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to the Kasi Podcast. Hope you're happy to see my face again. It's been a while. We are not alone. We have Simba here.
Yo, what's up?
The man behind the cam with the plan. Thank you for joining me, Simba, even though you had no choice.
Yeah, I'm just here anyway, so
No, it's always when I do these Kasi talks and these Kasi segments, I guess I'm still getting used to the actual feeling of just talking with no one sitting next to me.
It's weird.
It is weird.
I've
know.
Done it. It is very,
you
very
know.
Weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, so you know better than me. So yeah, I always just force you here against your will. So it looks like I just have something to aim at, you know?
Yes.
Conversation director, so I don't feel I'm going crazy.
I do get that. It feels weird just talking into a lens. So
it does. I don't know how people do it. But how are you? You're good?
You know, I'm surviving. You know what I mean? And at age 22, that has become the bar now.
But here's what I don't like about that phrase, right? We'll get started. Because I've been thinking about this for the past year, and I spoke about it with a couple of friends. And so I try to ask people, how are you? What's happening? You good? Blah, blah, blah. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a specific situation where I had a friend who had, she had COVID, right? And nothing serious. She just had, couldn't taste and couldn't smell. But nothing crazy serious. She didn't have it bad. Young, so she's our age. And I knew she had it for about a week and whatnot, and she was isolating and everything. And I was gonna ask her a week later, how is she? And my first thought was to phrase it, "How are you holding up?" But I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I said it to myself as I was typing, I thought I don't like that I am asking her how is she holding up.
Yeah,
as if she struggling in the sense she's just about getting there. She's just about holding on.
Yeah, it's a private question.
Right. I didn't like the thought process that went in behind that from me asking her and from her about to answer it. So I changed it up and I've decided to stop phrasing it that way. And now I always phrase it when I ask people this question, I always phrase it, how are you thriving? So Simba, how are you thriving?
How am I thriving?
Yep, how are you thriving?
Would I say I'm thriving? I don't think I'm thriving. You see, I don't like that either. I also don't like that either, equally so.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it sets up. I've noticed recently that I think a lot of us have this expectation that if we're not feeling amazing, then it's a bad time. And I've realized that sometimes just feeling just okay is a lot, honestly. So I wouldn't say I'm thriving. I'm surviving, and that's pretty good. Is
it though?
Yeah. I feel like if you set the bar for yourself too high every day, you make things harder.
You don't need to be happy every day, and you don't need to thrive every day. I think that's unrealistic, because if you're thriving every day, then it's not really thriving, right? So most days work to being good, work to being okay.
Yeah.
And that is good, that you're okay. You don't have to be thriving.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be struggling either. Even though we do.
That is
Even though we do, and it will happen.
Yeah.
You don't have to be struggling.
I feel like it's better to just... Because I think the issue I have with both of those questions, both how are you holding up and how are you thriving, is I think both of those questions prime the other person for a specific answer.
Right.
Because if I ask you how are you holding up, now there's this expectation that you have to tell me about the things that aren't going well. If I tell you if I ask you how are you thriving, now there's an expectation that I just want to hear about the things that are going well. And I feel like it's better to just find out, how are you doing? What is actually going on?
Yeah, it is. But my thought process behind it was, how do we put people in a conditioning to look to thrive?
Okay.
So if I keep asking a friend of mine, how are you thriving? How are you thriving? When we're in conversation, they might ask me how I'm thriving.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I do it so much that at some point in their life or at some point in their day, they think about what's going on, whatever, within whatever they're doing. And they think, instead of, oh, what am I doing to keep up, to hold on? No, what can I do or what am I doing to excel, to be good?
Yeah, I get that. But I think there's a value in also, like, I think people also appreciate being able to share their problems, right?
Yes.
I feel like that's the side they also get that, you know what I mean?
True.
I like the sentiment behind it. Don't get me wrong. I do like the sentiment. And I think if, especially like there's instances, if you had a friend who you knew was doing bad, I think asking them, how are you thriving, is good, because you're asking them to think about the good things going on in their lives. And I feel like as an intentional exercise, I think that can be good. But I feel like for me, I'm always more interested in just finding out, how are people doing? Like, I just want to know. Like, if I ask how you're doing, I want to know. Like, if honestly, which sounds really terrible, when I ask people how they're doing and they go terrible, I'm like, that's great, because that's a real answer. Everyone says fine. Nobody would lie and say I'm doing terrible. If someone says terrible, I'm like, all right, we have a conversation going now. Like, that isn't just a default answer. And I think that's better.
Do we like to hear that people are good, that people are doing good?
Do we like to hear that?
Because you just said what you said, and I thought to myself, to some extent I agree. Like, if I have to ask someone how you doing and they say like not good, terrible, I'm also like, okay, let's dig into it a little bit, like what's going on, if you want to talk to me about it. And I would feel the same if they said, oh, I'm doing great. But like, I was thinking, do most people want to hear that other people are doing great? But I imagine if you're gonna actually go out of your way to ask someone how are you doing, you care enough that you want them to do great.
I don't know if that's true either. I think, you know what
I mean the how are you doing is in the serious question, not just randomly, oh, how you doing?
Yeah, but that's what I mean, is like most people just go, how you doing?
Yeah.
It's just like a default, right?
Yeah, but then that requires a fine.
Yeah. See, but that's my problem, is like, don't ask me how I'm doing if you just want me to say fine.
No one that is just thrown out to me, oh, how you doing? I'm going to go in, oh yeah, no, this happened here, this happened over there. I'm just going to be like, I'm doing fine.
Don't ask me then.
If it's a good friend that I'm talking to and it's a genuine conversation and they genuinely ask me, oh, how are you? Then I would go into it. But someone who's just thrown out to me, oh, how you doing? I'm not going to deep dive into what's going on. I'm just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing all right.
If you don't, I'm just saying, if you're not ready to sit down and hear about everyone's terrible thing,
don't ask.
Because it's a dangerous thing, because one day you go, how are you doing? And then somebody will be like,
put this cup down.
You know, someone's going to be like, so thank you so much for today has been, and they're going to tell you everything. So it's like, don't ask.
I think I have done that, before.
Yeah. It's like, don't be ready, because somebody's going to drop it.
And I'm like, cool, like, relax.
It's like, I was just being polite.
Yeah. Like I was mid conversation, you know. But yeah, deep. How long? Like a couple minutes, and we're in a deep conversation there.
That's where
the Kasi Podcast satisfying us. So we have been away since July, my lord.
Yeah.
August we were supposed to take a break. September we took an unexpected break.
We were on summer holiday like the kids.
Yeah. August supposed to take a break. September, we weren't supposed to take a break, took an unexpected break. So instead of missing out on 2 episodes, we missed out on 4. But we'll make it back up to everyone. We got a lot of guests planned in for Christmas. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they all come through. But yeah, how have you been the past? Our last episode was with Brad.
Was that the last episode?
I believe that was the last one. 17,
was
18,
it?
17.
Okay.
Damn. That was July we recorded here.
Yeah. It's
so have you been? What's been new with you since then?
What's been new with me?
What's been new with you?
What is new with what's new with me that I can share on the internet?
You can kind of share.
That I can kind of. That's true. Yeah. That I can kind of share.
It.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess, you know. Oh yeah, I turned 22 years old.
Yes,
I did do that.
Yes. And you still didn't even message me about How can I go on my way to message you to take you out for your birthday and I don't even get a reply back?
I'm sorry. I literally
I get airtime.
I still haven't done anything.
And I'm going out of my way to take you out for your birthday.
Sure, if you want to go get food today, I'd love to go with you, man. I would. I'm free, but yeah.
How was it? What did you like? So you didn't do anything?
Not a thing. Not a single thing.
You need to live with me for a month.
I need to live with you for a month.
Yeah.
What would that? You want to move in together? Is that
that would be amazing. What a balance, yin and yang.
Yeah, that would be a vibe. We'll see. Me and us are moving in together. That would be wild.
Yo, do the studio from home. Do the podcast from home.
Yeah, exactly.
We set up
turn the flat into a studio.
That's a shout. That's a shout. No, but you didn't do anything.
No, I didn't. I was working on my birthday.
You turned 22.
Yes.
Great. Another year.
Indeed.
Another life to live. What else was new?
Nothing. I wouldn't say anything crazy. Like there wasn't anything really new. I turned 22 and I guess that came with, as it always does, thinking. I feel like turning 22 was like a catalyst for me to think about what it is I'm doing with my life.
Isn't every birthday that?
That's what I mean, So I turned 22 and that was my catalyst this year to kind of contemplate what I'm doing with my life. And I feel like I usually am thinking about it, but it gave me a reason to sit down and be like, what is happening? And like, am I satisfied with what I'm doing? And what's the plan? The culmination of that was probably a minor quarter life crisis. So that was fun. That was a good August.
Did we slightly talk about it?
I think
one of our conversations.
I think I had a bit of a chit chat about it, and just like I'm still kind of thinking about it and like what it is I want to spend my time doing.
It is a conversation that is ongoing.
Yeah, it is an ongoing.
There isn't a stop to it.
There isn't, but I'd like to get some sort of like I think in life a lot of these questions never really get resolved, but I think oftentimes we get answers that are good enough for us to keep moving forward. And I'm just waiting for my good enough to keep going answer.
Yeah.
And I think I'm close. I think I might have something, but we'll see.
So yes, the question, and it's funny because I see people now who are, way older than us, maybe 8, 9, 10 years older than us. And I feel like they were asking themselves the same question.
Yeah.
Like, what do I want to do? What am I doing? Is this really what I want to do?
Yeah.
What is going to fulfill me? And like we said, it is a conversation that is ongoing. It doesn't stop. And I think you put it in a perfect way there, that you don't exactly get an answer for the question, but you get enough information about it to where you can move forward, and progress bit by bit. I'm always finding, again, it's a conversation that I'm always going through, that I'm always asking myself. I feel like I've got some answers here and there. I understand still that a lot of things can change a lot. And even when I turned 22, not within the last 2 months we've been here, but earlier in the year, I don't remember the specific feeling, but I had this moment where I felt within me like something was like brewing in the next 7, 8 years of my life, like in my 20s. And I don't know what it was. It was, I think, towards the end of uni. I think towards the end of uni, the things I was getting in outside of uni, I had this feeling like spring up inside me, like something is happening here in this period of my life, in this decade of 20 to 30, and in 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years, I'm going to be in a totally different place, somewhere I want to be, somewhere I'm happy with, and I'm gonna have the plans for when I'm for the next 8, 9 years, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Everything that I've gotten into now, with coaching, I still coach under 13s football. I still play myself. Started my master's course when we spoke about me thinking about it. I started it, and PTing, so working shifts at a private gym and training clients, which is something new to me. Doing all these things together in a week all these things that I enjoy, that fulfill me, that I love, that interest me in a lot of ways that I'm still in somewhat novice in all of them fields. I can't wait to see where it's going to get me when in 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and what I'm going to be doing with all of it and how I'm going to be living. So that conversation is always ongoing, and it is something that we do need to answer, and it's better you answer it sooner than later. You know, one of the reasons I went to uni in the first place was because I was 21 or 20, turning 21, and I didn't want to get to 25, 26, 27 and thought, let me go uni now. I thought I was in a moment where I wasn't, and I've spoken about this before, but I was in a moment where I wasn't doing anything, and I thought, if I'm going to go to uni, let me do it now. I don't want to get to 25, 26, 27 and be like, oh, let me go uni now. Oh, damn, I wish I went uni when I was younger. I want to get it done now, find out what it is, experience it for myself. And even if I spend 6 months to a year there, at least I know now what it is. I've had it before. At 25, 26, 27, I know I tried it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And thank God, it's probably the best decisions I've made so far in my life. So, yeah, so there's been a lot of changes, a lot of new things for me. My weeks are a lot busier now than they were. Currently running off about 3-4 hours sleep in the past 48 hours. But it's a life I asked for.
Yeah.
It's a life I asked for, to be fair. It is. Especially coming out of doing uni. So, because I was at uni for so long, I wasn't, and I'm doing masters now, but it's only like 1 day a week. So, because you're at uni for so long and you're full time and you're 3 days a week, I wasn't really looking into going to work full time. So I was just coaching part time here and there. But now that I'm out of uni, I'm doing my masters. I still think I should go and coach full time because masters is the same as your undergraduate. So all that time that I had back then, all that free time I had, like uni 3 days a week, coaching once or twice a week for like 3 hours. And then every other time I was sort of playing football myself or just doing whatever. All that spare time in the moments where I felt like, oh, like, what am I doing? You know, when you stop yourself for a moment and you're not doing much and then you feel like you should be doing more.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it might be just a good time to relax, you should be relaxing. But your mind's like, oh, what am I doing? Sitting here, blah, blah, blah. Should be busy, should be doing something. So subconsciously, I was asking for this and I was waiting for this. I was thinking, masters, I'm going to be working full time. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to get into my PT course. I'm going to step up a bit in my coaching. And now it's here and I'm doing everything. I'm waking up like, yo, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to get home. Well, I'll get home like at some point, but I know my last thing to do is like 8 p.m. and I'm going to get home to like 10 p.m. Then I'm off the bath, eat, wake up again like 8, 9 a.m., do something else, blah, blah, blah. That's how my schedules are. But then I'm like to myself, busy is better and this is what I wanted. So I'm just getting acclimated with this lifestyle. Getting used to it. I would say full-time work, but not traditional full-time work. Because I'm not doing like Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
With what I'm doing with coaching and PTing.
You're still putting in like the 40 plus hours.
Right.
I'm
still putting in these kind of hours. And there's still many more to come. Because I've only just started in this PT course. I'm less than a year in. And I'm building my clientele. I'm getting more and more clients every now and then. So there's way more hours to fill that I feel myself. There's way more hours to, like in the gym I work at, there's some PTs that from 7 a.m. they're in training clients through to about 4, 5, 6 p.m. Maybe with a 30-minute an hour break here and there. But they're doing about 10, 8 clients a day for like 3 days in a row. Like, so someone can clock in about 30-something hours in 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And do I want to go that crazy? No, because they look like they just live in the gym. But I understand as even though I'm busy now, there's still a lot more to do, a lot more hours to fill in, you know?
If you wanted to.
If I wanted to.
Yeah. And
that's the bad thing with PT, and it's like you're on your own time. Well, you're not on your own time, but you're self-employed.
Yeah, you control the schedule.
You control the schedule. You're self-employed. Like if I really wanted to, I could go in the park and do sessions there with my same clients.
Yep.
If I wanted to, but I'm not going to because that's just dumb. But you know what I'm saying, that's my point. Like, no boss is
Yeah.
gonna tell me, no, you have to do it here at this time, blah 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 blah.
You have a lot more agency.
Right. So if as long as I contact the client and they're happy with the time, whatever, blah blah blah, we do it. So in that sense, I control that, and I love that about. That's another thing I love. Like, I don't really have a boss
Yeah.
in anything I'm doing.
Yeah, I like that because I'm also self-employed.
Yeah.
As well. I've been now for, how long have I been freelance for? Since the end of 2019. So coming up to two years? Has it nearly been 2 years? Jesus Christ. Yeah, coming up to 2 years. I've been self-employed. And yeah, no, it's nice. I think the reason that I went self-employed wasn't even just like, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want to, make as much money as possible and whatever. And I was like, I just want to have control. I want to be able to just be like, actually, tomorrow I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Because I can. It's like,
Yeah.
I can decide when this edit gets done.
Yeah.
I can decide when this project gets finished. I can email a client. I can do something. If I see an email, and I can respond to when I need to. Obviously, I deal with the repercussions, but it's all on me, which I like. And I'm yet to have a problem with that, even when because it'll happen. Even when I'm out on my bad weeks where I'm like bad with scheduling and keeping up, I'm still yet to have a problem with like deadlines. But it's nice just having the control and being able to dedicate your time into what you want. And I think one of the most annoying things that I found about working full time, because I wasn't a full time job, is there were instances where I would be in work and I wouldn't actually have any work to do. And I'd be sitting there going, I have this thing of my own that I could be working on. I have this other thing I could be working on. But you can't really, and especially in my job at least, you couldn't really work on your own project on work time. So you just sit there and you end up just doing busy work for no reason. And it's like, now if there's no work to do, like no freelance work, I'm like, cool, I can go do this thing now. And it's nice having that control and agency.
It is definitely. But I guess the world won't be able to run if everybody was trying to be their own boss.
Well, yeah, maybe not even be your own boss, but yeah. And I don't think everybody wants that type of agency either. I think a lot of people hate that stuff. I think a lot of people don't like that.
Is there a word for people who are opposite of entrepreneurs?
I can't think of anything that wouldn't be considered usually as an insult. I can't think of a nice word that people. That's not me saying that that's a bad thing. You can work a 9 to 5, but I feel like all the terms that people create are usually like insulting.
Bugs.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's just the regular person. I feel like a lot of people aren't built for the like freelance thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a very specific type of person.
But we're not even conditioned to be entrepreneurs. I don't feel maybe a little bit now than in the past, but the way that we're supposed to go through life with like school and education and everything, I feel like we're conditioned to go into a 9 to 5 job. Yeah,
that I would agree, and I'd say that for the most part, probably. But there are a few people who just like that works better for them. And freelancing isn't.
But does it work better for them because they weighed up the options, or does it work better for them because they didn't ask questions?
What do you mean? Oh no, I'm saying that works better for. There's some people who freelancing works better for.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely a lot of people who have never even weighed up the options and the possibility of freelancing and running your own business or whatever you want to call it.
And on top of that, to do that, you have to then ask the question that will talk about what do you want to do with your life, which is a big question that nobody wants to answer. Yeah,
you don't even have to go that far, honestly. I think there's a lot of jobs you can freelance, you can go into freelance. But yeah, I would say even just like beyond just figuring out what you want to do, I'm going to be real. I don't think most people are really built to be able to handle their own schedule and time. And I don't think most people could hack it. I'm going to be real with you.
I'm not gonna lie, that's something I've been trying to figure out.
Yeah, I don't think most people are built for that.
Yo, schedules are no joke. Like, you really need, like, I only just, because I have like a physical calendar that I try to write in. But I realized like past few months, I haven't exactly been going back to it and looking at it. I need to hang it up somewhere that I see every day.
Oh, I live and die by my Google Calendar.
Right. So I only literally just started going through my month and filling in the things that are reoccurring every week and whatnot. And you know the little, I don't know if it's not, you don't have an iPhone, but there's like, I'm sure there's a signal or something that comes up. So basically on iPhone, on the day, there's a dot that comes up when you got something on that day. So say if you got a birthday,
Yeah.
one of your contacts' birthday,
Yes.
on the 27th will have a little dot underneath the number.
Yeah, I think Android has that, but I just turn it off.
Probably something else like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So at first, before I put all this in my calendar, I had like a month. I had maybe 1-2 dots.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll put in my calendar every single damn day. I've got a dot under every single number.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I pretty much remembered my schedule anyway. Like every time I go to sleep and what night, I always think, oh, I'm doing the whole day. Or beginning of the week, I think about what my week's gonna be. But now putting it in my phone and seeing it just constantly just right there is like so much better. And I've just understood like how important it is to schedule.
Oh, so
because I'll be talking to someone about
So
something.
important.
We've got 3 days, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got that. About 7:30 in the morning. Let me not forget that.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that's just something I'm really getting into and trying to schedule properly in my phone.
Yeah, I didn't realize how important it was because obviously I was really lucky and I went freelance just before a global pandemic. So I wasn't really that busy at the beginning.
Yeah.
But once I was getting busy, I realized the importance of like, it's so important because you can so easily accidentally double book.
Yeah.
I almost actually had a bit of a conundrum during this August. I say bit, I did have a problem. Basically, so my cousin.
With 2 different clients?
Close, almost, but it was a double booking issue.
Okay. That you fucked up.
Yeah, that was 100% on me. So basically, I've gotten to the point now where if it's not in my calendar, as far as I'm concerned,
You're not doing it?
It doesn't exist. It's not happening. The event isn't happening.
Yeah.
That's how I find out something's happening. Is I go back to my calendar. So like, you know, like when you send me a date for like the podcast, I open my calendar app and I put it in before I forget. Because if I forget, I'll get to Sunday. I'll be lying in bed and you'll be like, Simba, where are you? I'll be like, wait, what? And so what happened is my cousin.
I'm in bed, dude.
Huh?
I'm in bed, dude.
I was like, what are you talking about? There's no calendar. There's no thing on my phone. I'm not doing anything today. But basically, my cousin got married this August. And her wedding was on like, I forget. I think it was on the 26th of August. And
you didn't go to your cousin's wedding, Simba.
Let me finish the story, okay?
All right,
just let me finish the story. So, my cousin's getting married or whatever. 26. The date comes up a few times, and I'm like, okay, cool, 26. But I never put it in my calendar because I'm really bad at putting social events in my calendar, and I need to get better at that because if I do that, then I might accidentally. Because I'm now realizing that sometimes I will book over a social event with like a client thing. So I'm like, okay, I need to start putting, this is when I realized I need to start putting social things in my calendar. So I looked at my calendar.
I thought about that too when I was doing my stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, 26, cool. I was like, yeah, I can definitely show up. I even to the point where I even RSVP'd. I went on the website. I was looking, I was like, oh, what food options she got? Okay, cool. Selected my meal.
But you didn't put in your calendar. I
didn't put in my calendar.
You just said, yeah, I'm going to be there.
I said, yeah, I'll be there, right? Because, you know, cousin, we're very close. It's very close. Probably my closest cousin ever, like basically like a sister. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to miss your wedding. The story has a happy ending. Okay, and then
if it doesn't end you being at the wedding, it's not happy.
It's a happy ending.
Okay.
So then one of my friends hits me up and he's like, "Hey, Simba, are you free on the 26th of August?" It was just like a texting chain. He was just like, "Oh yeah, what's up?" And we were just talking about various dates. He's like, "Oh, I got this thing out. Are you available here? Are you available here?" And I was like, "Yeah, you available on the 26th for a wedding?" It's just like a bunch of dates. Yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm totally available, right?" And then it's coming up to the 26th, and I'm lying in bed, and I'm like, oh man,
what do I have?
I was like, oh, I gotta film that wedding on the 26th. And I was like, oh, when's my cousin's wedding? And I was like, it wouldn't happen to be the 26th, would it?
What day was this?
This was like a week before. Okay. So this was like the wedding was on a Saturday. It was like a week before. I'm lying in bed. I'm like, my cousin's wedding wouldn't happen to also be on the 26th, would it? No. And I just get out of bed and I check my phone and I go, it's on the 26th. So I'm like, I done screwed up. But I've learned to own my mistakes as an adult, which is very important. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, listen, there's no point stressing about it. I just hit the dude up and I was like, hey man, very important. Can you find someone to replace me for the 26th?
In a week.
Yeah. And it was really stressful because he didn't get back to me. Like all week he hadn't gotten back to me. He's like, oh man, having really a hard time looking for it. I was like, I don't
really rub your face, but like, I can't find anyone.
I was like, I don't want to be the guy who tells his cousin, hey, I can't make your wedding. And not only can I not make your wedding,
cousin who is like a sister.
Yeah, and not only can I not make your wedding, I can't make your wedding because I'm going to be filming another wedding that isn't yours. And I also refused to film your wedding because I didn't want to be working on your wedding day. kind of awkward.
That's hilarious.
But luckily he came through in the end, and I went to the wedding, and that's when I realized I should start putting social events on my calendar. But yeah,
You live and you learn.
yeah,
So as I was doing my calendar stuff and saw that out, I was thinking about that. Should I put like social stuff on that I have planned?
definitely do it.
Yeah, but I haven't yet. But yeah, you live and you learn.
You do.
Speaking of things that kept me up,
Mm-hmm.
in the past 40 hours, while I've only had 4 hours sleep, I was watching boxing.
Boxing. What is that? Is that where they wrap up boxes for Christmas? What is that?
No, it's not that, Simba.
What is boxing?
It's when 2 men or 2 women get in a ring.
Okay.
And they punch each other until one quits.
Is that legal?
Yes.
Can they do that?
Yes, as long as they got gloves on.
As long as they got gloves on.
And it's commissioned.
You get paid for this?
Yeah.
This is just like we just let this happen.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if one of them like gets hurt?
They get hurt.
Damn, that's okay. Interesting. Yeah. And we just like watch that.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
That seems kind of crazy.
Well, we enjoy it mostly because we could never do it ourselves.
That seems a bit primal. You know, it has like it kind of has like a caveman energy to it. Just watching 2 guys beat each other up in a ring.
I mean, we have been doing it for hundreds of years.
It has, yeah. You'd think when you think about stuff like MMA and boxing, it is a bit nuts.
We have been doing it, which is the gladiator. Like that, doesn't that building still stand in Rome? What's it called?
The Colosseum.
That still half and half stands, right?
Yeah.
You can go and look at it.
Yeah.
Like gladiators, I believe, used to fight in there. Like, and it was way worse there. You fight to the death.
Yeah.
You didn't fight until someone tapped out or quit. You fight until you die.
I find those sports so nuts that
crazy.
We just get in a ring, just start wailing at each other. MMA is the worst for it.
MMA is and I love MMA.
MMA, I'm like, this is not even like boxing. They got like gloves, and there's like MMA. They just put 2 guys in the ring, just go for it, guys. Legs, hands, whatever you want, just go nuts.
Yeah, no, MMA is wild, and it's funny because I am more of an MMA fan than I am boxing.
Yeah.
I've been in MMA for like the past 5 years now, 5-6 years. I've been really into it. But every now and then I watch boxing, and there's too much because boxing's been going for so long, like way longer than it's probably the oldest fighting thing that we have today. The oldest like combat sports that we have today, maybe.
Maybe the martial arts are older actually.
Yeah, martial arts are older.
MMA is probably pretty young, but I feel like martial arts.
Mixed martial arts is young. Martial arts are older. Yeah, people do martial arts from day. But in terms of like televised combat sport, boxing has been going on forever, and there's too much politics in boxing.
Really?
Like there's so many divisions in terms of different weight classes.
Yeah.
Like you can have someone who's like, and in America it's like in pounds, and we use kg, so it's like it's different. But you can have someone who's like, let's say heavyweight is like 110 pounds, 150 pounds and above. 110 pounds and above is heavyweight, and I don't know the specifics, but let's say it's that.
Mm-hmm.
Heavyweight is 100, so that's the big names like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, blah blah blah. They're heavyweights. They're 110 pounds and above.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there to like 90, there could be like 4 or 5 different weight classes, and then in all them 4 or 5 different weight classes, you got different titles and different championships, because in every weight class has a division, like someone who holds a title for that division.
Yeah.
So there's so many divisions, so many different weight classes, there's so many different people with titles, and then within the title, there's so many different titles itself. Like in the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury has 1 title. I think they call it WBC. I don't know what that I forgot what that even stands for. But then the person who just beat Anthony Joshua the other week, I don't know if you heard about that news. Alexander Usyk, Ukrainian guy.
Yeah.
He just beat Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua had all the belts, all the belts bar 1. And he just beat Anthony Joshua the other week, 1 week, 2 weeks ago. So now he's got most of the other belts. So they're all in heavyweight division.
Yeah.
But there's about 6 belts there. So there's so much like, and it's just long. So when I watch boxing, I'm just mainly really watching the bigger names, the most noticeable names, or maybe someone that I'm just really interested in. So I'm way more in MMA, because even when I got into that, it was something that I understood straight away. There's divisions like probably every 5 to 10 kg or pounds, but 5 to 10 kg. So if heavyweights are like 110 above, The next one will be like 95 to 100, something like that.
Yeah.
And then there'll be middleweights, and then I slightly get the weights. There's like heavyweight, then light heavyweight, then there's middleweight, then there's welterweight, cruiserweight, blah 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 blah. So yeah, I'm way more in MMA, but the big fights in boxing I watch. And I watch Wilder Fury. You heard of Tyson Fury?
I have heard the name.
You've heard the name Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder, you probably haven't heard of.
I have also heard that.
You've heard Deontay Wilder.
I've heard those names.
You probably haven't heard of him because of Tyson Fury, then.
I have heard the words Wilder versus Fury. So that is correct.
They fought 3 times. This is their 3rd time. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's
that
why.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I've heard those names. I don't know what those people look like.
Yeah.
I couldn't point them out, but I've heard the names.
That's funny. Tyson Fury just walks by you. Well, he's a 277-pound, 6'9" man.
Okay, so that's heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Very heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Yeah.
So, just for context, Deontay Wilder, that WBC title that Tyson Fury now has, Deontay Wilder had that. He was about 30-something fights and so like he won about 30-something fights and didn't lose that one at all.
Yeah.
Knocking most people out, crazy right hand, knocks people out crazy. Tyson Fury was someone who fought a while ago, a few years back, and he was unbeaten too. He beat someone called Klitschko, won the titles.
I've heard that name also.
Klitschko, famous name. He beat someone because Anthony Joshua faced Klitschko as well. Tyson Fury beat Klitschko. This is a few years ago now, last decade, and he won that title. Made it look like a walk in the park, like a breeze. Everyone's like, "How the hell did he do this?" After that, he went away. Didn't know what he was doing. He was like at the top of the top. He got a bit depressed. He didn't really know how to deal with everything he was going through. He disappeared, went away for a few years. Obviously, they took his belts off him. No one beat him or anything, but the belts have to be active. So he comes back. This is years ago now. He comes back because someone asked. So Deontay Wilder's going through all these people, and not biggest names, but he's going through people and knocking them out. Some here are big hit, some here and there are big names. And someone asked Deontay Wilder, I think, about Tyson Fury. Someone asked him about Tyson Fury, and at this point, Tyson Fury was away. He's mad overweight, like 300-something pounds, just depressed. He talks so much about times he was almost just wanted to just end it.
Yeah.
And this man's got wife and kids. He's got like a family. And someone must have asked Deontay Wilder about him, and Deontay said something towards the likeness of he's never going to come back and fight, blah, 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 blah. Well, little did he know, Tyson Fury was paying attention. Tyson Fury said, like, Barnett, I'm coming back. I'm doing it now. I need to prove I'm the best in the world, blah, 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 blah. So he goes on this journey, this mission to lose all this weight and get back to fitness shape, which he does. He goes back into training, etc., etc., etc. Fast forward, he makes this fight happen with Deontay Wilder. And everyone's thinking, this guy's been out for so long. This is crazy, blah, blah, blah. Deontay sparks people with his right hand, like knocks them unconscious.
Yeah.
It's going to be big trouble for Tyson. But Tyson's like a good boxer. He doesn't stand there and punch with you. He'll move. And he's a big guy, but he can move really quickly for a guy his size.
Yeah.
He'll move really quickly, jab you, try to counter you, and just pick you apart. Deontay Wilder ain't really got that. He's got that right hand, and he will just, if he connects with you, 9 times out of 10, you're out. So that was the first fight. Sick fight. Tyson Fury was moving around, sticking and jabbing him. He wasn't really trying to get touched. Not in a scared way, just he was doing his fight. He's a boxer. He really does boxes. The true, they call it the science of boxing. That's Tyson Fury. That's where he's from. And Deontay hasn't really got that kind of skill, but he was still trying to just find him and connect that one punch. I believe Tyson Fury won that fight. He got knocked down once. Tyson Fury got knocked down once in like the 6th or 7th round, but it looked like he was sort of off balance and a slip. And when he got knocked down, he did a sort of showboating thing, like you didn't hurt me, I'm here. And he got back up and it was cool. But he got knocked down again in the 12th round, the last round. Mm-hmm. And apparently, I only learned it here, but apparently knocking down in a boxing match is like big. So obviously there's points and judges if he goes to the end of 12 rounds. Apparently a knockdown is huge points. Like if you knock someone down, you've pretty much won the round.
Yeah.
So I learned in that moment. Because almost every round, Wilder was hardly touching Fury, and Fury was just boxing his face off, and hardly getting touched. So I was thinking this guy's winning rounds, racking rounds. And then he gets to the 12th round. Wilder connects with him. Fury drops. Eyes rolled back of his head. Boom. Drops on his head, drops on his back, on his bum.
Yeah.
And obviously he got a 10-second count, right? The rest started counting. And for about 4 or 5 seconds, I think his eyes were closed, I don't remember. But he was just flat, laying there, Tyson Fury. And then when he got to about the 7th, 8th second, he rose up like Undertaker. He just sat up, got up for like Undertaker, and got back up and got into the fight again. And then some say he won the end of that 12th round because he started putting pressure on Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder was tired, he couldn't handle it. But then that first fight was a draw, which I think he won, but it was a draw apparently. Because there's 12 rounds, even if Wilder won the rounds that he knocked him out in, that's 2. I don't think he won another 4 for it to be a draw, you know? So, yeah, I don't know about that. But anyway, it was a draw. So, they go away. Wilder keeps his belt. They came back quickly for a second fight, of course, to get it done. Fury demolishes him. He comes up in weight. So, maybe he was at 240, 250 in the first one. Second one, he's about 270. He comes up in weight. He thinks, I'm not going to box him and just move around. I'm going to pressure him, put my body on him, put my weight on him, and just ruin him. So, that's what he did. Ruined him. And Deontay Wilder's, he's a tall, like, black guy, mad shape, mad strong. He's like 6'7".
Yeah.
But he's a lot slimmer in shape than these other guys. He's a lot slimmer. Ruined Wilder. Knocked him out. Well, not knock him out, but Wilder's team threw in the towel. As in, they said, nah, this is enough. They're like forfeited for him, basically, because it was taking too much damage.
Yeah.
And the ref was thinking about it anyway. So yeah, that happened. Wilder's making all these excuses about this and that, and he cheated, and he's got something in his glove, and blah 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 blah. So it's not looking good for Wilder.
Yeah.
He said he walked out in some sort of vest, like, and they said it was about 40 pounds, and they said the 40-pound vest that he had on before in the change room, and then walking out, it took too much energy out of him. But then there was a video that came out online of him training with a 40-pound vest on. So I was like, you could train with a 40-pound vest on and do proper strength and conditioning training, but walking out for 5-10 minutes, that's too much energy for you.
Yeah, a lot of these athletes just like don't know how to just lose with grace.
But he had never lost. That was his first loss.
Yeah, but just like lose with grace.
Yeah,
hey, especially if you've never lost. I'm like, hey man, you took one. You are still great. Like,
yeah, so he I guess he just didn't deal with that.
Yeah.
So this third one came now. It was last night. Third one? Yeah, third one. Because there was always like a rematch clause somewhere within the contracts that they have. So Wilder has a chance to, beat him back for the third opportunity. And I missed the beginning part of it. I need to rewatch it, but I watched the end of it because I just got back home. And apparently Fury got knocked down a couple of times in the earlier part of the fight. So Wilder was a bit more prepared. He knew what was coming for him. But it wasn't enough. Fury was just the better. Because he can punch and put his weight on you and use his power, and he can box and move. So I think it was just too much for Wilder, and it stopped. But it was a crazy fight because now it's like, what's next for Tyson Fury? Because I don't think there's anyone else who really like touches him, who comes close to him. Anthony Joshua Fury was a big fight because they're both British fighters and whatnot. That would be huge in like Wembley or something. But Anthony Joshua just lost all his titles, which he'll probably go do a rematch. But good luck to him because that didn't go well for him. So he'll probably go do a rematch with that guy who took his titles, the Ukrainian
so
guy.
if you lose against one dude, you lose all your titles.
You lose all your titles.
How does that even?
So you could be a champion, unbeaten in 25 fights or something, and you have all your titles. You lose one time, your titles are gone.
Dang.
Your titles are gone.
I guess that keeps it like interesting for the viewers, but dang, that sucks for like the fighters, man.
Right.
Imagine kept racking up all those titles in one guy. It could just be like a bad day.
One guy.
And it's just like all it takes is like one bad day.
Anthony Joshua had his bad day. I heard the name Andy Ruiz.
All of these names sound familiar. I don't know what any of these people look like, except for Anthony Joshua.
So the guy called Andy Ruiz, Mexican guy, like just, I'm trying to be nice. He's huge.
Okay.
Like, not huge as in physique,
Okay.
great shape. Huge as in out of shape, like a heavyweight. But he's a boxer.
Yeah.
And you don't want to mess with him because he'll...
Yeah, he can still be strong.
Yeah, he'll you up.
Yeah, he's still probably strong.
Super fast hands.
Have you seen like the world's strongest dudes? They don't like look like physically. Like,
Yeah.
Like their physique isn't like an
Yeah.
attractive physique, but it's like they're strong.
They'll fling you over.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, this guy, Andy Ruiz, Joshua wasn't supposed to fight him, was supposed to fight someone else. Andy Ruiz came in as a replacement like weeks before maybe.
Oh no.
Joshua got knocked out.
Really?
Yeah. Knocked out. This was maybe 2 years ago now, something like that. So Joshua had his moment where, you know, it was a bad day at the office for him, you know. This guy came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This big guy that people make fun of. Mexican guy, no one knows his name.
Yeah.
And in one night, everybody knows his name. He's a millionaire now. Super bare contracts and everything. But then Ruiz, of course, there's rematch clause in contract. So Anthony Joshua trained, came back for a rematch and got his titles back.
Yeah.
From that guy. And then that guy, just no one heard of him since. I think he's had a couple fights here and there. But yeah, so he's lost it now again. So I don't know how he's gonna plan to win the next one.
Yeah.
But good luck to him. Because there's a sense of like Anthony Joshua's like, he's from like Watford, I believe. He grew up in Watford.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of the guys, you know?
Yeah, I think that's why people like him. He has like an everyman.
Right, so people like they're
rooting for him.
So people like me, people like you, from where we're from, we're like, I want to see you win. I want to see you do well. So when he's, well, if you're invested, if you care.
Yeah.
So when he's loses, they're like, oh. Like when he was losing, I was like, this is not looking good for him. He's probably gonna lose. But I was a bit like,
yeah, because it feels like you're losing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel that.
You want to see someone that represents you succeed.
100%.
So that was a shame. But yeah, if I'm being in all honesty, I don't know how he's getting them titles back. The guy outboxed him. And even if he does, he's not beating Tyson Fury. Because that was supposed to be the huge fight until he lost. He's not beating Tyson Fury. The other guy who took his belts off him, Alexander Usyk, is not beating Tyson Fury. He's good, but he's not beating Tyson Fury.
How old is Tyson Fury?
33.
Isn't that like super old for a boxer?
Not in boxing.
Really?
From about 28 to about 33, that's like your prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for most sports, that's usually like you're almost out. Except for like maybe like tennis or something. Or golf.
Nah, football you're not out. Ronaldo's playing, he's 36.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's your prime as a footballer.
No, it's not his prime. It's not his prime, but he's still playing at a very good level.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Actually,
like you can.
Again, he is
that's what I like. I mean, you can, but I feel like
case.
That's what I mean. I mean, like usually in sports, when you're getting up to your 30s, you're not in your prime anymore.
Football 28, 29 is your prime. 27.
Yeah,
that's your prime. Fighting is very weird because even when I started watching MMA, because I got in it like most people got in MMA back in the day, which is Conor McGregor.
Yeah, when
he first came on the scene and he was making a lot of noise. And he was just this unique, vibrant character with so much energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you attracted yourself to it. He was able to attract people to him. Like, and I was one of the people he attracted. And I would just watch his stuff. Like, who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. That talk so much. Like, Irish accent.
Yeah.
But he's like in America on a big stage. And even that, similar to Anthony Joshua. I'm not Irish. I'm not like, I have no connections with Conor McGregor except for the fact that like, I don't think Ireland and England are even like, we're just close to each other.
Yeah, it's like kind of.
Yeah,
it's like I guess it's like America and Canada. Right?
Yeah,
it's like you're kind of there.
Yeah, we're just close to each other.
Yeah,
but the fact that I see him out there in America and he killed it and he like did his run and he's a legend, I felt a bit of like proudness that in America, because America's so big and they think everything in the world just happens in America, and so when something else comes over now and it's Ireland and it's something close to us, I'm like, yeah, go on, like, do you go dominate that industry, and you feel such a pride with him, even though there's really no connections with me. But yeah, when I started watching UFC because of him and I got into it, and I was seeing people fight and they're 31, 32, 33, and I'm watching this thinking, bro, that's like, you're in your 30s, fam. But they look mad young, they're fit as hell, and apparently that's like your prime, 32, 33. In UFC world, you're not old if you're 32. You're just getting started.
Really?
There's people that started their MMA career at like 25.
Okay.
Yeah, fighting's weird like that.
That's interesting. I feel like I would have thought it would have been even like less, because I'm like, how long can you keep doing a sport like that?
It is crazy. You do the life they live is nuts.
Yeah. like statistically, you are screwing yourself. I think like the chances of Alzheimer's for like boxers is like I think it's up. It's like super high. I think if you like do a fighting sport, I think it's like 50% or something. It's like it's really high.
And I don't know how.
It's really high.
And I don't know how UFC get away with it because it's not just gloves.
Yeah,
Like getting hit in the head. You can get kicked.
100%.
You can get kneed in the head. You can get elbowed in the head.
Yeah. Like those like combat sports, I'm like, yeah, that salary makes sense because you are like one way or another. If you have a good career in that, you are like screwing yourself up in old age. Like you can't take knocks like that to the head continuously without repercussions.
And the crazy thing is, there are three fighters that I can think of in UFC that are like over 20 fights unbeaten. And you think let's say 25, you fought 25 different people. How on earth have you not lost to any single one of them?
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
You know, one of them's retired. Another one's not retired, but he's crazy outside of the sport itself. So I don't think he's ever going to fight again. And the other guy's still fighting. And they're unbeaten and they're all like on 25 undefeated, 26 fights undefeated. Fighting's a crazy life. I love watching it, but I can never do that.
Not professionally, no.
I couldn't do it in practice.
I'd do it for fun. I've thought about it.
I'll do jiu-jitsu.
I've thought about martial arts for fun. I think that could be fun.
I thought about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. The grappling side of it. I may get into that sometime in the future. But I have no interest to go and start sparring with people. I have no interest to go start kickboxing with people.
You want to get kicked in the face?
No, I don't want to get kicked in the face.
I kind of do. I think it could be fun. You know, it has that like crazy, like, it's a really dumb man thing, but it's got like crazy masculine energy, like that stupid boyness to it. And I'm like, that seems fun. Like, take a few kicks to the face.
I think it will seem fun once you get kicked in the face.
It will. There's so much adrenaline. I assure you, you will look back and be like, that was kind of, because like, how else do these people keep going? Definitely.
Because they're bred from a specific type of life.
Nah. I think it could be fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it like professionally because like I don't want brain damage, but like I'd do it like for like a hobby.
Nah, I think the only one I would get into would be jiu-jitsu. That seems sick. But I get what you're saying, because in that sense, it sounds weird. In that sense, like jiu-jitsu where you get submitted and whatnot, like in some sort of choke or whatever, I imagine the feeling of, you know, getting choked out would be wild.
Yeah.
Would be wild.
It would be crazy, right? Like, I'm just like, imagine you're just like fighting a dude and the dude like kicks off the wall and like hits you in the face. There'll be so much going on.
No, not hitting me in the face.
Okay, or kicks you or something. I feel like taking like one of those kicks would be like such a like, especially the first time, that would be such like I don't think your body would know how to react. It would be like, what is even happening right now? All that adrenaline, kick to the face, pain, blood flow. You're like, what is going on?
Body malfunction.
Yeah, it's either you go, I'm gonna do MMA, or you like die on the spot because your body doesn't know what to do. I'm willing to take that risk.
Oh, Simba's a wild dude. So something interesting happened.
Okay.
Yesterday, because I play football.
Indeed.
I play matches on Saturdays, and we went away to Swanley to play a team, and something interesting happened on the pitch. So again, because you live under a rock, and I have to update you on everything that goes on in life.
It's a very nice rock.
There's a lot that have been going on in the past year or so, and 2 years, past 2-3 years in football and racism in football.
Okay.
And there is a big campaign, especially after the George Floyd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a big campaign with professional athletes in general, professional athletes, but specifically for this conversation, professional footballers and different leagues and whatnot, and around Europe, everybody before a game they take a knee.
Okay.
And they've been doing it since the football came back in lockdown. So before a game they take a knee, and that's, you know, out of respect and acknowledgement of, you know, George Floyd originally, and now just, you know, sort of black people in general, and Black Lives Matter and whatnot, right? So that's been going on for a while, and this is a big thing. Like anyone who pays attention to football anywhere, like you see people take a knee before a game for about a few seconds. And I had this conversation about whether what it's doing is actually working or it's just become something that we just do now.
Yeah.
So I was playing my game, and we're like maybe 25, 30 minutes in now. And the other team has a free kick, right? We fouled them, they have a free kick. And we're setting up the free kick. We're, trying to defend it. And there's one of the players, as some players do, talking a lot of sugar honey iced tea.
Yeah.
To like one of our guys, especially they're winning at that time, so he could. He has the right to. So talking a lot of stuff, trying to get into our heads, whatnot, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the guy who was talking to, he was being calm. He wasn't necessarily biting. But I have a friend who plays for team and he's there already. So I'm there, my friend's there, and the guy who's getting like rubbish spoken to him because you got mark up, mark as in mark a specific person who you're gonna defend against.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of us there in that sort of area. And we're, their team is there as well. They're trying to score from the free kick. And the guy's talking rubbish to one of our teammates. And my other teammate, who's there with us, the other friend, he gets in to defend the teammate that's getting talking rubbish. So it's like, oh, shut up, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. They're talking back and forth, like a little small talk, why this like free kick's getting set up. And he goes like, oh, just blah, 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 shut up, blah, blah, blah. Stop behaving like a monkey.
Okay.
And now for context, the guy who plays for my team, friend guy, he's a white guy. Originally from Eastern European. Originally he's Eastern European. Came in maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
The guy on your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Came maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The guy on the other team who he was talking to is black.
Okay.
So you can see how him saying stop behaving like a monkey to the black guy sort of just threw everything out of the way. Like
I could see how that could have that effect.
Right,
yes.
right.
Knowing how people are, I could see that.
So as you'd expect, the black guy like flipped out, like, "What, you call me a monkey?" Blah 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 blah. Things started escalating. Their team heard it as well, so a lot went on in the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 minutes. That had to get stopped and separate. Nothing crazy. So nothing necessarily happened to him because the referee came, had a lengthy conversation. The game was stopped for about almost 10 minutes.
Okay.
I think their team was even talking about maybe walking off the pitch and not playing. Because of it.
Really?
Yeah, because people are really taking a stance in this, and rightly so. You should, if you genuinely feel like you.
Yeah, if you feel like you are.
Right,
definitely.
So yeah, but we moved on for that. We carried on playing, whatnot. But my point is, I say this story to say, I feel like intent is huge.
Yes,
I feel like intent is extremely huge in like everything and in anything.
Yeah, I think more so context
and intent.
Context is
important.
Context is extremely important.
Extremely important.
Arguably, I think the context.
But intent might be more important. I think.
I feel don't those would they not go? Would they go?
I don't think they do. Because there was a context in the situation and there was intent.
That's true. Yeah. Those are separate.
But even
context and intent. Yeah.
But even with the context, if the intent was wrong, the context would still just be awful. Yeah. Whether you had a context or not, it would still be awful.
Yes, that's true.
But
intent and context.
Yeah.
I'd say then, yeah.
So context. The guy was talking back and forth to one of our teammates, blah blah blah, chatting rubbish, trying to get into his head.
Yes.
He came in to try and defend his teammate, tell him, "Hey, sharp, blah blah blah, like stop talking, whatever, get on with the game."
Mm-hmm.
Made a comment. And that was what it was. Now, intent's important because I know him personally.
Yes.
He's not just a player that plays in my team. We've played in another team before, like 2 seasons before this one. So I know him. He's a friend of mine. We've gone out before. Okay, we've chilled together. We've spoken about a lot of things. And I feel like I'm a good judge of character.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be spending time with somebody who I thought was racist and doesn't respect black people and calls black people monkeys.
Yes.
So when he said it, I was sort of standing there like, huh? Did he just call him a monkey? Like, see, not call him a monkey, but did he just say to him, stop behaving like a monkey? Like,
See, that's interesting, right? Because for me, my brain wouldn't go straight to, especially if I knew the dude, I wouldn't go straight to, he's calling him a monkey because he's black.
right, but I'm the only one that really knows him like that.
Yes.
I know, of course, all our other team knows him. We've been each other since the beginning of the season.
Yes.
But it's fairly a new team, so everybody's sort of, most people have met each other here this season, beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I'm the only one in the squad who's really known him before out of this, you know? So, and the other team that we're facing don't know him at all.
Mm-hmm.
He's just another white Eastern European guy.
Yes.
So, and the way the world has been going for the past year, 2 years, and how big how prominent this stuff has been in football. Even for me, if a white guy would say that to me, my mind would go to, be like, who you calling a monkey? It wouldn't be, you're referring to me behaving like a monkey because I'm being silly. I'll be like, I would go to like, what are you trying to say? You know what I'm saying?
I get that, but I personally wouldn't go there. I would question. I'd be like, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the context and the person. I think the way they said it.
Yeah. So that was the way it happened. You know,
Yeah.
they were talking back and forth and it was like, shut up, like, stop behaving like a monkey.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's so intent is really important, right? Because so when I heard it, I was like, why was that even something to say?
Well, because the thing is, though, again, I wouldn't go straight to the race thing because.
But no, so wait, so let me finish.
Okay.
So that's what my thing. That why is that even something to say? Like, especially with things that have been going on.
Yes.
Like, how did you not, before you spoke, for let me not say this could get misconstrued. But my second thing was, I was still just calm because I know him.
Mm-hmm.
I know his intentions.
Yeah.
I know he's not racist. I know he doesn't refer to black people as monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the calmer side than most other people because I know him. I know his intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't refer to anyone like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no one else knew his intentions because they don't know who he is.
Of course. Even you didn't know his intentions. You just assumed.
Yeah, of course.
You're doing the same everyone did.
Yeah.
You assumed.
I have more information.
Background of the character.
I have more information of him.
Yeah, your assumption
to have better assumption.
was backed up. But everyone else was making their own assumptions. Everybody knows what he was thinking.
Right. So, but it did surprise me that he didn't have necessarily awareness to recognize that I shouldn't make this comment because of how it can be misconstrued.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone with enough awareness in that context would know I shouldn't make this comment because of how it can be misconstrued.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't mean it at all in that way. And he didn't. He even the connection. I don't really see myself, but he was like, he was from a sense of he was behaving like an idiot.
Yeah, that's what
I
would have imagined too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I believe he was coming from. The guy was behaving like an idiot, called him a monkey.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can see that. But what surprised me was the awareness. Like,
yeah,
it's not like he's born and raised in London. Like, he came here like 3-4 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
He's born in Eastern European, where some cultures in that part of the world can be culturally set up to be racist. Even though people in them cultures are not.
It may not even be a thing of being culturally set up to be racist.
Not set up.
I know what you're saying, but I mean, like, it could even be a thing of, if he's in a country which doesn't have a lot of black people,
right.
Then
you don't know.
They wouldn't know. Like, for instance, you go to America, there's like a million and different, like, there's so many cultural contexts and so many things that you wouldn't know to avoid because you're not American and you don't understand the history behind things. So if you're from Eastern Europe and you call someone a monkey and there's no other black people in your country, you calling someone a monkey, you may not understand the context of, like, monkey is a thing that people derogatorily call black people. You just be like, that's what I call somebody who's acting. So, like, it might just be a thing of not having black people means he's never been made aware of that
Right.
context. You know what I mean?
And that's a situation I think most people find themselves in from that part of the world. They say things where they just haven't been exposed to people from another culture, where the thing that they've said or done, they haven't realized how negatively that can be misconstrued, or how disrespectful it comes across. There was a situation again in football. This was maybe late last year. It was a game going on. Two teams from two different countries, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and in a professional game, there's so many different referees and officials. You know, you got the one on the pitch, but then you got two on the outside, and you got like a few more like on the sideline. Like make sure other things are sorted out. And something must have went on with like someone on the bench, like one of the substitutes on the bench, a black guy,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the officials must have told the ref like he needs to come talk to me, to come give him a yellow card or something, because he's doing whatever he was doing. I don't remember. So the game was stopped. Referee came over to the sideline. Like there's a bit of commotion, and the two referees are talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying to sort out who it is, what's the issue is. And they're two like white European guy. One of them was Romanian, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys they were talking about was a black guy. So the one who's on the sideline is talking to the referee on the pitch, because he's the main referee. He has the cards, he has his decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and he's telling him who the culprit was and what he did, blah 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 blah. And he pointed over. I think they was talking in that one of the languages
Mm-hmm.
that they both understand. And he pointed at someone to say who it was. And he basically said, in layman's terms, he said the black person, the black one, because there was like, I don't think he knew their names.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like maybe in that little bit he was the only black guy sitting there. So he was like that one, the black one.
Mm-hmm.
But in his language, that black translates to negro, I believe.
Yeah.
Or neglito, or
Yeah.
some sort of variation of negro.
Yes.
And then a huge commotion happened because they heard that. Yeah, because people heard that. And people was like, "What'd you call me?" Blah, blah, blah. And then something was going off about 10, 15 minutes. Like,
I hate that.
things going on.
I hate that.
And it's like,
I actually hate that stuff.
at first, when I first got a hold of this information and I saw what was going on, I thought, right, you just called the guy, blah, 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 blah. And then I looked at it a bit more, and I was looking at his body language and listened to him a little bit. And I was like,
and they were speaking
he just wasn't aware of what he just wasn't aware of how this could be misconstrued.
It's not even about misconstrued. It's the
I know it's their language, because I
really don't like that. I feel like that in itself is a very closed-minded viewpoint.
I think it's a difficult, complex situation. I think it is.
I think
I don't think it's black and white.
I would say it's actually I don't like that, because to get angry about that is to see the world in an English speaking mindset.
No, it is very silly to start and get angry, and
yeah, if you can hear it, it's like that's a different language.
Yeah.
I'm like, and even I'd say don't even get angry first. Ask them what did you say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then clear it up. And if it seems like the person was actually being racist, then get angry. But yeah, I don't like that when people...
getting angry straight away. Of course, I understand the situation first before you start. But we spoke about that, and that's something I spoke about what uni helps you with. Like, you're leading with your emotions there.
Yeah, 100%.
You've seen a situation happen. It's not like it's been crystal clear what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
But you've seen a scenario happen where someone's pointing at you or towards you, and you've heard the word, or someone around you has heard the word, and then straight away you've gone, oh, blah blah blah, I called him nigger, negro, whatever, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Understand the situation first. Don't just lead with your emotions.
To a conclusion, yeah, definitely.
But yes, I understand. I believe that was his language, and that's the word for. And in most countries, still to this day, that's the word for
that's
black.
Just the word, yeah.
Not black people, not black person.
Just the
color, black.
Yeah.
It's some variation of negro, negrito. I think there was even another issue I can't remember getting to. There's so many issues here. But in South American and Argentina, something.
In Spanish, it's just negro.
Spanish is just negro.
Yeah.
I remember going in secondary school. Do you remember that Spanish room? There was the colors on the wall.
Yeah.
Yo, I remember because I didn't do Spanish, right?
Yeah.
I did French. Yo, I'll never forget this day. I didn't do Spanish. I did French. And I was in this class one time. I don't know why. There was no reason for me to be in this class.
Yeah.
I didn't do Spanish. It was like a Spanish classroom. And I'm just sitting there looking up at the colors on the wall.
Everyone.
And it said, what did it didn't say black. What did it? I think it said black.
Mhm.
And it said black, and I didn't even said negro. And I thought,
Yeah, I
for
think.
what the?
Yeah, I think everybody had that.
I thought, what, bro? It just says negro up there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was baffled
Uh-huh.
until I realized that
That's-
that's what they call black. And then I was like, how are they still calling that black?
Well, they're
Like,
not gonna change their language.
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I thought that the word derived from.
Okay, so you.
I thought the word derived from Americans making it up for black people.
Okay, so you thought they had taken
Right,
the word
right,
from that.
right. I
and
thought
they
taking
were
away from
saying-
that and using that.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't understand that Americans heard Europeans use the word to call black people that because they're not even being racist, just saying the black person.
Yeah,
Americans heard that, rearranged it and made it Negro.
yeah.
And then they started using it, but it got popular there with America. But it was Europeans who would use it to talk about black people.
Yeah.
But they weren't being racist, they were just saying, oh, the black person. The way we will go with the white person.
Yeah. And I think
The Americans just took it and then made it something to, degrade you, if you were called that.
yeah.
When really the original word for it in them countries was just you was a black person.
Yeah,
Same way you're a white person.
I think I've noticed a lot, especially even just like with a lot of this stuff, is I think people often forget that the US and the United Kingdom is not planet Earth.
Mm,
And I think a lot of us forget that the world isn't just the Western world.
mm,
And I think sometimes it requires us even going beyond the scope of like, oh, wait, there's like other, like even like, I would like, for instance, like the monkey thing. I wouldn't be surprised if you went to an African country and because they don't have the context and they might not have the context of that in our kind of, in our history, they may not even see that.
mm.
And it's like, I think it's important to be aware of like the different cultures. And I think just the solution is just like you said, I think you shouldn't go first with your emotions and you should like, it's like,
understand.
try and understand, try and get it. And it's like, yeah, there'll be definitely tons of instances in which people are just being racist. And I think you need to be like, take a second to assess.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to, I think it's very different. I think it's a lot of people will jump to reactions because it's really hard to suss out when people are being racist because there's like,
Especially when you don't know them.
there is so much gray. And it's easy to just hear something and just be like, just get angry or just leave it alone because it kind of paints the world black and white, but it is really gray and it's really difficult.
Especially when you don't know the person.
Yeah, it's a very, very hard thing to do to suss that stuff out.
So that happened, and there was a big commotion on the pitch because he said the black person, but it was Negro in his language. And I even spoke with a Romanian friend, and she was like angry at it, like, what do you want us to do? That's our language. That's what we say.
Yeah.
And I was sort of the sense of, but then when I thought about it a second time, I thought, but it is their language, to tell them to change. I mean, it's only one word, but to tell them to change their whole language is like, it's a bit blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But even my first initial thought was, have a bit of the same way we need to understand before anything, and not just lead with our emotions. What's the situation is, what's actually going on? Because it could just be a clash of cultures.
Yeah.
I feel like my first initial feeling was they should understand how this word is used, and sort of go around that a little bit.
Yeah, I get that.
Like you would imagine around black people to talk about a black person, don't just go, oh yeah, the negro. Like go around because you understand how that could.
But then the question is it fair to punish several cultures in all over the world and be like, we're now taking words away from your language because of something that
I'm not asking. No, I'm not saying.
But I mean, like, you'd ask, you're saying avoid the word, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, is that fair to ask? Like,
right. So that was my first. Right.
That.
So that was my first initial feeling.
Yeah.
And then when I thought about it a lot more, I was thinking like, this is their. This is their word that they used.
Yeah.
And they had it first before it was used to degrade black people. They had it first just to say the color black.
Yeah.
It just so happened that we've heard it so many times through like social conditioning from understanding our past that now in our brains when we hear that word it means something else. It doesn't mean just black.
Yeah.
It means what we see it as. So then I thought about that and I thought, yeah, but you can't really tell them don't use
to avoid the word.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's it's sticky in the situation with the clash of cultures, and I guess it's just awareness.
Yeah.
awareness needs to be understood from them and how we would feel about that word being used.
Yeah.
And then from us understanding that that's their culture.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's not anything specific or derogative to us or to black people. It's just what they say.
Yeah, it's just
and it's just a shame that certain people in a certain generation used it for another meaning, for another purpose.
I think it's just like, I think one of the things I've noticed about where we are right now is I think a lot of us focus only on our side of the story and outside of what the issues are. As like for instance, like a black person from Southeast London, your main internal concern is the issues that are facing there and your culture and all that. And I think it's important. I think the one thing we should all learn from what's going on is there are so many different cultures, and everyone just has to take sometimes just like a step back and just like take a second.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to do that. I think it's just the key.
I remember this is what we're talking about when we had the episode with Michael on the teams, when I said uni helps you to critically analyze and evaluate both sides and take your emotions out of it, take your feelings out of it, your opinions out of it, understand one side, understand the other, then make your decision however you feel about it. And it's the same situation here. Like, I feel like I've started to do it in most things in life. In fact, there was another situation. This was like 4 years ago on the football pitch with one of my old teams. We was playing, and we were predominantly a black team. We had a few white guys on our team. We were predominantly a black team. Yeah. And the team we played was all white team. And you get this when you go out and you play further out. You get teams where there's all white people.
Yeah, statistically,
yeah. And it might be just one black guy. And he's super fast in the team. He's super fast. And he's super fast. But yeah, maybe just one black guy. But generally, wherever you go, there'll be all white. And we're playing this game, and one of my teammates, I forgot specifically what happened, but there was a bit of back chat, a bit of talk. But it was like a throw-in to the other team. They had the ball. One of my teammates and one of their teammates were like just being silly, getting like bickering, going back and forth about whose ball it was, whatever, blah blah blah. And then I was just like to him, leave it, keep playing, but whatever. And then we just getting ready to play and continue. And another teammate on their team went out and went, he was talking to his player who was involved, his teammate, and he was like, leave him, he thinks he's a gangster. And I heard that, and of course I understood. So people could misconstrue that as like not racist, but like very stereotypical. Yeah. Because he's a black guy, he was wearing a do-rag. He's talking and bickering, which has nothing to do with being a gangster. But
that I can understand getting angry about way more. Right. Way
but
more.
Nothing really happened there.
Yeah.
But
because
I think I was the only one that really picked it up, because I don't think anyone else on my team really reacted from it. Yeah. And I'm not someone to make a commotion out of it, because I was understanding the situation while the game was going on. Yeah. But it did piss me off that this. But then again, I just understood this was an uneducated, ignorant guy. Yeah. Who didn't spend no time around black people, didn't grow up around no black people, and what he saw was what he grew up with, which was everything in the news and media that all black guys from gangs and we're gangsters and we tried to be like this. So when he was trying to, sort of insult the black guy in some way, he goes, leave him, he thinks he's a gangster. Which gangster had no relevance, or there was no connotations in the context of the situation. Yeah, you see, but that was his only view of black people. Yeah. So me understanding that, I didn't go start switching. I left it and I relaxed. And I just I can't bother to.
Do you know what the thing is as well? And I don't even think like the point. I think switching is even pointless. Yeah. I don't think even if he straight up just shout at the N-word across the field, right? Getting angry isn't like a solution. And it's something I realized, and the reason why I don't argue with people at all. Even sometimes I listen to people, I'm like, wow, I might not be right, but you don't sound quite right either. Is because I realized something. I think a lot of us, and I think this happens at our age especially, I think especially in the age of Twitter and social media, whether we've had it or not, or it's developed recently, but there seems to be this belief that if you argue hard enough and you win the debate with someone, you will change their mind and they will now move on to a better path. And I'm not sure if you've ever had an argument with somebody, even when they're right. Even if somebody's right, the last thing you want to do with somebody you just had an argument with is agree with them. That's the last thing you want to do. The last thing you want to be is like, sometimes honestly, having an argument will just push you deeper into whatever you were believing, because you're like, I don't want to agree with you.
But is that a problem with them or you?
That's just a people thing. That's how people are. And you're not conversing with yourself. If I was only ever conversing with myself, fine, I would debate every single person ever, right?
But in that specific issue, in that specific context, situation, you and someone else, you're having a debate or an argument, whatever it is.
Oh, I concede all the time now because I noticed it. I concede all the time now.
Yeah.
It still hurts when you concede.
That's more of an issue with the person. I
don't think that's a solitary. I think everybody's like that.
Everybody probably goes through it, but in that specific context, you're having an argument, debate with someone, and even the person that you're having an argument, debate with, if they're quote unquote winning the argument, what they're saying is right. If it slipped on them, they'll go through the same thing. Because like you said, there's something everybody goes through, and I agree. But in a specific situation, me and you are arguing, we're having a debate, you are right, and I'm starting to believe and understand how right you are, and I'm starting to realize I'm wrong and I look stupid. But I don't, like you said, I go deep and deep into what I believe, and I don't want to be wrong, and I'm digging my hole a lot more. Is that a problem with you or me?
Well, that's just like a problem with, I would say, obviously, I guess it's a problem internally with yourself, but my point is it's not isolated to just you.
No, of course. If shoe was flipped and it was me that was right, you would be in the same.
Yeah, I think it like takes understanding yourself. And I think a lot of people, like, you have to understand how other people work, which is what the whole point of empathy is to understand other people. And I think you have to understand when people are attacked or when you have a debate with someone, they get defensive. Like, that's just the natural thing. They maybe a few months later, they'll be like, oh, he said something meaningful, and they'll change their mind. But I've learned that arguments and debates don't change minds. People change their minds when they're talking to people who they actually like and respect, and they're having normal conversations. It's through normal everyday conversations with people you actually like and care about that you slowly change your mind. And I think that's gotten me out of the mindset of arguing with people, because I think like that's not how you change people.
It is possible to set up healthy debates, though.
You can set up healthy debates, but I don't think the majority of people are capable.
The general person
Exactly. I don't think the majority of people are capable of having those healthy debates. No. So I think your default, you should not base your default on the extenuating circumstances. Your default way you act shouldn't be based upon how the 1% may react. You have to adjust to how everyone is. And if we want to change everyone's minds, if we want everyone to be more inclusive and more cohesive, you have to understand how people work. And I think the uncomfortable thing about changing people we don't like, racist people, sexist people, whatever people, is the unfortunate thing is the only way to change their minds is to like actually talk with them, like on a level, like not get angry. Like somebody says the N-word, you're like, hey man, do you know that's like not that, like actually just conversation, be like, yeah man, that's not like, yo, be like, hey man, that's not that cool, bro. Like, that's kind of like, you do know that's kind of like having a conversation. Yeah. They may react hostile, but like, that's how you do it. And I think a lot of people are like, if I argue, if I shout at this person, they're going to know they did something wrong and they're going to change. They're definitely not going to double down and be even worse than they were before.
It is kind of ironically funny, you know, that to sort out a dispute with someone or a difference you may have with someone, the only way to do that, you know, in a healthy way, to talk.
Yeah.
But you don't want to talk because of that dispute or that difference within you.
Yeah.
That's funny.